What are pure functions and side effects in Python? Imagine you have a magic box that always gives you the same toy when you put in the same coin. Wouldn't that be nice? In Python programming, this idea is similar to what we call a pure function. A pure function is a special kind of function that always gives back the same result when you give it the same input. It does not change anything outside itself. That means it does not mess with global variables or change data you pass into it. It just takes in some data, does its job, and returns a value. For example, think about a function that multiplies two numbers. If you give it 3 and 4, it will always give you 12. It never changes anything else in your program. Now let's talk about side effects. Side effects are like surprises that happen outside the function. For example, if a function prints something on the screen, writes to a file, or changes a global variable, it has a side effect. These actions can make your program harder to understand because they change things outside the function. Functions with side effects can produce different results even with the same inputs if they depend on or change external data. In Python, pure functions are helpful because they are simple to test and debug. You can be sure that a pure function will always behave the same way. This makes your code more predictable and easier to maintain. Think about a function that adds two numbers. It always returns the same sum for the same inputs and doesn't do anything else. That is a pure function. On the other hand, a function that updates a global counter or writes to a log file is not pure because it changes things outside itself. When you write Python code, understanding the difference between pure functions and functions with side effects helps you write clearer, more reliable programs. Pure functions focus on returning values based only on their inputs, making the flow of data straightforward. Side effects, however, involve any change outside the function, which can sometimes cause confusion or bugs. So, whenever possible, try to keep your functions pure. They make your code cleaner and easier to work with. Remember, pure functions always give the same answer for the same inputs and do not cause any outside changes. Functions with side effects do more than just return a value. They change the outside world in some way. Keeping this in mind helps you write better Python programs that are easier to test, debug, and understand.